Multiple fires are continuing to burn across the Grampians National Park, with a fresh emergency warning to leave immediately issued in the last couple of hours. For the latest, we're joined by reporter Julia Bergen, who's in Horsham for us. Hi, Julia. What are the latest warnings telling residents?
Good morning, Bridget. Fire crews have worked throughout the night to try and contain two out-of-control blazes in Victoria's west. So we've got that fire in the Grampians Garryword National Park and a fire in the Little Desert National Park. Now, that Grampians fire yesterday and overnight really ramped up. In the southwest of the park in particular, there's been an emergency warning that's been issued for people to leave immediately. Speaking to fire authorities this morning, they're concerned that that fire is going to actually leave the park and spill over onto the Henty Highway, which has been closed. In the north of the park, a fire that yesterday was looking incredibly concerning. Thankfully, that's been downgraded to a watch and act. Residents there yesterday were issued an evacuation warning, an evacuation order to leave immediately, but they're now just monitoring those conditions. Fire crews were able to go in and do some backburning operations, which they said were quite successful. They were minor, but they said that that is definitely helping. Although, as you can understand, they remain on high alert. The weather conditions there, the wind is currently tracking in a south-southeasterly direction, but that can change at a rate of knots because of the landscape in the Grampians. It's very prone to wind tunnelling and also weather that can be quite erratic, so fire crews never really know what they're going to get. It can, as I said, change at a rate of knots. Overnight, they've had around 100 fire authorities working on that Grampians fire, as well as a specialised helitack aircraft. So up until now, most of the aircraft operations have only been operating in daylight hours, but they're now rolling out nighttime operations as well. And understandably, those aircraft need to be incredibly specialised. Heading to the Little Desert National Park, things are looking a little bit more promising there. So there was also around 100 fire personnel working to put in containment lines around the town of Dimboola, which was impacted by that Little Desert fire. And fire authorities say they were quite successful. That fire has burned about 70,000 hectares with a perimeter of 300 kilometres, so it's a huge footprint. And those residents of Dimboola that were impacted, they were forced to evacuate earlier in the week and were allowed to return home on Tuesday. The Western Highway has been opened. That opened yesterday afternoon, but access in and out of Dimboola is still restricted to residents only. So there's checkpoints around the town, making sure that it's just those residents who can come in. That town met last night for a community meeting at the library where they were briefed on what that fire behaviour is doing, what to expect in the coming days, and also information on, where they can get assistance and help. Fire authorities are particularly concerned with that fire about the weather from Saturday through to Monday, as temperatures are set to soar in the coming weeks. So, yes, still very concerning in the state's west.